Now, family, I want to tell you it will be a good time of learning. And so, let's all get ready to learn. At this point, we would like to appeal to each and every one of us. Let's take our phones. If our ringers are still on, turn it off or put the ringer off. Thank you all to do that. We will not like to hear any phone ring in the course of the seminar. As has been stated earlier also, this seminar is compulsory for all research scientists and technicians. As soon as the space here is filled, those in the extension room also have the opportunity to partake fully in this seminar. As we go into this seminar proper, I'd like to invite for the citation of our speaker, Dr. R.D. Ibe. Ma'am, you're welcome for the citation of the seminar speaker. Please a round of applause for her, please.
Good afternoon, the chairman. Oh, sorry, I'm in a hurry actually. So sorry about that. Good afternoon, the chairman. Good morning, the chairman, the respected INC members. I'm here to take the citation of the presenter of today. No other person but Dr. Badmos Musliha Adepeju. Dr. Musliha Adepeju Badmos started an academic journey. Yes. But before I continue, sorry, I claim your indulgence. Shall I ask the presenter to be on her feet? Thank you very much. Please, let's see. Thank you. Dr. Musliha Adepeju Badmos started her academic career at the distinguished and premier university, no other one but the first and the best, the University of Ibadan. Great UI. Oh, I can't hear that. Great UI. And I'm proud to tell you that she had all her degrees at this great citadel of learning. Her first degree was in agricultural economics. That was in 1997. After the youth service, she proceeded for a Master's of Science in Agricultural Economics at the same university. And to cap it all, she bagged the prestigious award of the PhD at the University of Ibadan, in agricultural economics. Shall we give her a round of applause? We can do better, please. Dr. Badmos is a member of professional societies, namely the Nigerian Association of Agricultural Economics, NAAE. She's also a member of the Agricultural Extension and Research Network, NGREN, and the Horticultural Society of Nigeria, Hudson. She started her professional career as an independent consultant, and she was a research assistant at the Department of Agricultural Economics between 1996 and 1998. She was an enumerator on data collection at the University of Ibadan in 2003. She was also a project facilitator of the National Fadama Project NFDP between 2004 and 2008. After which she got employed at the National Horticultural Research Institute in 2009 as a senior research officer and has since rose through the rank through to research excellence and has become the assistant director of research in Nigeria. She's also she's also the current, excuse me, she was the head of program of the Farming System and Extension Research from 2021 till date, I'm right. Dr. Badnos has had the privilege of attending several conferences of the National Agricultural Economics as well as the Horticultural Society of Nigeria. And she has several competencies as a researcher. Dr. Badnos has professional experience in research, initiation and implementation, application of community-driven development, professional experience in the application of participation learning action plan, approach in development projects. She's also has an expertise in project monitoring and evaluation, professional experience in designing strategies for promoting social risk in investment projects financing, and experience in the offering of preliminary psychosocial support services, gender-based violence survivors, GBV, and making referrals to existing PSS centers where necessary. I was expecting our class. Dr. Adepeju Badmus has over 40 publications to her credit, which includes journals and peer-reviewed journals, book chapters, and conference proceedings. She's strong, she's analytic, and she has problem-solving skills. She's excellent in data collection. She's proficient in the use of Microsoft and other software. She has excellent writing and verbal communication skills, among others. As part of her career achievements, Dr. Badmus has been able to work within and outside NIHOS. And I'm pleased to inform you, I'm also proud of it, that she was the pioneer head of the reformed budget as well as planning, monitoring, and evaluation department, a position which she held for 7 good years. You can read that, please. As part of her achievements, she's a research scientist, of which she has served in many capacities and also has been involved in several projects within NIHOS as well as outside NIHOS, some of which I will mention quickly. As a socioeconomist, she's been involved in the value chain study on breeding tomato for tolerance to Tuta absoluta, baseline study to determine the status of tomato production in Nigeria in the Korea African Food and Agricultural Cooperation Initiative project targeting enhancement of tomato and onion production in Africa for maximum and participation, capacity building of West African food value chain stakeholders in the region, and to promote macro value chain by productivity increases, quality and trade community and social development projects, Abuja, Nigeria, between 2019 and 2020. We also ensure the integration of gender and vulnerable groups activities into the community and social development plans, which is also a federal project support unit of community and social development projects between the same year. As an independent consultant on gender-based violence specialist, she ensured that all environmental and social safety processes and procedures as stipulated under the environmental and social compliance is carried out. She does sensitize and train project staff on global guidance on addressing gender-based violence prevention, as well as designed a brochure for easy dissemination of key messages on addressing gender-based violence. That's the GBV. She also developed protocol for prevention of sexual and gender-based violence in secondary schools. Last but not the least, she as a project facilitator was also involved in the National Fatherhood Development Project, where she sensitized and advocated for the adoption of community-driven development (CDD) approach as a new paradigm for sustainable development at the grassroots. She applied participatory learning actions to encourage the inclusion and participation of women, widows, elderly, and other vulnerable groups in group formation, capacity building, and local development plans. She encouraged the use of different conflict resolution mechanisms among different partner users groups and facilitated the preparation of communities to local development plans for farmers. You can do better. It's often said that all work without play makes Jack a dull boy. Dr. Adepeju Badmos is not only involved in research, she doesn't just bury her head in work. She is also good in writing and meeting people. And she has traveling as a hobby. You can see that it's shown in her work. And last but not the least, Dr. Badmos is happily married with children.
Thank you very much, Dr. Eden, for the wonderful citation. Right now, I would like to hear some brief remarks from the chairperson for today's seminar presentation, Dr. Adelanina.
Good morning, everyone. The executive director will be represented by Dr. Adetu and other ex members, and also my colleagues. We thank God for today seminar, and I want to believe that it's going to be a very interesting one and kind of learning section. Looking at the title, these are the social aspects of our work, and I believe we are all here to learn, to listen to Dr. Badmos talking about promoting inclusive and sustainable horticultural value chain development, the critical role of gender mainstream and women empowerment. Thank God for that women empowerment. When looking at horticultural value chain from production to table, you see both gender, even gender and generation. The youth, the girls, the ladies, everyone is involved. But when we are talking about, okay, let's meet with farmers, or meet with anyone, men dominate. What happened to women? So that's what we're going to look at today. Gender mainstream and women mainstream gender. And how do we empower the women so as to have a development that is inclusive and sustainable in horticultural value chain. So we listen to Dr. Musliat Adepeju Badmos.
Thank you. Welcome, congratulations for today. As she comes up stage, please our hands together for her. Our hands together for her.
To today's seminar. The title of the presentation is as shown, Promoting Inclusive and Sustainable Horticultural Value Chain Development, the critical role of women, of gender mainstreaming, and women's empowerment. Yeah, this is going to be the outline, the manner in which I'm going to be doing the presentation. I'm talking about production. Here I'll mention the importance of agriculture, as you all know, in promoting sustainable development. I will also talk about the importance of agriculture in promoting food security, reducing poverty, and promoting sustainable development, because we are all tied of sustainability. There will be a brief mention about the challenges faced by women in agricultural production, which are very familiar to most of us. How is gender mainstream and women empowerment? How is going to help to make horticultural change development sustainable? We'll also look at this. And then it's time for me to take some case studies of how inclusion of women in value chain have helped in achieving sustainable development. So in terms of introduction, horticulture involves cultivation of fruit, vegetables, flowers, ornamentals, either for commercial purpose or even for subsistence using. Horticulture provides a wide range of crops. It improves soil fertility, generates income and employment opportunities for farmers and their communities. So it helps to mitigate the impact of climate change by sequencing carbon, conserving water, and promoting biodiversity. These are all some of the importance of horticulture as it promotes sustainable development. Horticulture also contributes to the SDGs, sustainable development goals, particularly those related to poverty reduction, hunger eradication, and sustainable agriculture. It helps reduce food insecurity by providing nutritious foods that are more resilient to climate change than traditional staples. It creates employment opportunities for women and youth who are often marginalized in rural communities. Horticulture again helps to conserve natural resources by promoting sustainable farming practices, agroforestry, crop rotation, and integrated pest management. And then when we're talking about the horticultural value chain, what exactly are we mean? The horticultural value chain encompasses all activities, all of them, that are involved in the production, processing, distribution, as well as marketing of horticultural products. All those activities, from farm to fork, all the things that takes place from when the produce is put on the farm till it gets to the table of the consumer. That's what the horticultural value chain talks about. And when we are talking about inclusive and sustainable agricultural value chain, it's critical because this is needed for economic growth, poverty reduction, and food security. Now, sustainable horticultural value chain development also involves reducing the environmental impact of production and marketing. We are bringing out the keywords in the theme to also highlight why this title is important. Women in horticultural value chain. Why are we talking about women? Because women critical role in horticultural value chain cannot be overemphasized, and that's why women is important. They help in promoting sustainable agricultural practices. They engage in climate smart agriculture, which is what is in vogue now. Women also use organic fertilizer and pesticides. Most women use that instead of synthetic ones, and this of course can reduce environmental pollution and health risks. Inclusive and sustainable cultural value chain development, therefore, is crucial for this reputation. So, achieving the objective of sustainable development, promoting food security, can only take place if the critical role played by women and their importance is taken into consideration. And of course, the issue of promoting gender and women empowerment is also given its right place. This is how, and until this is taken into consideration, we will not have sustainable development that we crave for. Okay, this is just to show us that women are actually involved in all aspects of the value chain, involved in production, with harvest handling and processing, marketing and distribution. Now, why do we have to talk about women? There are gender gaps. Gender gaps exist in agriculture. And because these gender gaps exist, they are reflected in the challenges that the women in particular face. So let's talk about these challenges. Technology, market information, and finances. So there's a gap there. In terms of access to higher labor equipment, technology training, and market, a gap also exists. There are restrictions on land ownership and tenure that limit expansion opportunities and lead investors to keep partnering with men. This is also a lacuna. Women also traditionally participate in value chain nodes with lower economic return than men. Participation in production of a specific crop is often calculated to the crop as due value. And women are the ones that actually feature most there. And these crops are actually limited to local consumption and local markets. Whereas the men are more likely to participate in export commodities or in markets where there is greater economic returns. So these are pointers to the challenges that women face in the value chain. Of course, we have the issue of sexual harassment and violence. It also exists. We have household, community, and care responsibilities, which are essential to rural well-being, but have an important effect on women's time use, because nobody has more than 24 hours in a day, whether you're a man or a woman. And these are also challenges. We have cultural barriers that limit opportunity to participate in decision-making processes, access resources, and services. These are other limitations. There's limited access to education, training, and credit, and this makes it difficult for women to improve their farming practices and subsequently increase their productivity. In addition to all these constraints, which are more to the ones listed there, the prevailing gender norms and discrimination often mean that women face excessive work burden, and that much of their labor remains unpaid and unrecognized. In spite of all these challenges, women still have to face gender discrimination, and they are not even recognized. Most of the labor services are not paid. And so when we have highlighted all these challenges, now it's good to look at solutions way forward. And by this, we want to talk about some key of what's also entitled Gender Mainstreaming and Women's Empowerment in Inclusive and Sustainable Horticultural Value Chain Development. Now, when we're talking about mainstreaming gender in value chain, what do we mean? Gender mainstreaming refers to the process of incorporating a gender perspective into policies, programs, and projects. And why do we do this? Why do we mainstream gender in our programs, in our policies? For us in 9 months, why must we mainstream gender in our projects? This is because we want to promote gender equality and empower women. Because we have also we have highlighted all the challenges that are facing, and gender mainstreaming is essential for promoting inclusive and sustainable development, particularly in the agricultural sector, where women often face these impediments are removed. Now, gender mainstreaming they have in making decisions. The principle of leaving no one behind. This is what guides the very famous sustainable development goals that we all talk about. The principle is that nobody should be left behind in the development agenda. And so that principle also talks about promoting gender equality. And the policy prioritizes equal access to and control over productive resources, services, income, market, and decent employment, and of course the reduction of the burden that women work come with. Again, we talk about the gender issues because if we take agriculture to be a business, which is what it should be, and not just a developmental, a developmental thing, market value and business benefits of closing the gap in gender is very, very important. Closing the gap in gender by addressing the constraints will increase productivity of the cultural sector first. That's looking at it from the business angle, and it also increase the supply chain of horticultural crops, and as well improve the quality of operation and access to premium markets at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, when a farmer is producing, whether male or female, the person is looking towards maximizing profits, increasing livelihood, and the bottom line is having enough profit. And so if we do all this, we'll be helping to achieve this objective. Now, in talking about the gender issues, we mentioned gender roles. In contrast, we have a gender relation analysis that counters on bargaining power and interest. So, as mentioned, analysis of gender relations asks such questions as how. There's a difference between gender analysis and gender relations. Between gender roles and gender relations, there are two different things. In fact, there are a whole lot of gender terms and concepts that we need to be familiar with, and time is not permit that. I will just go through them. But I will just define the ones that we use because of the presentation. So, in analyzing gender relations, you want to ask this kind of questions about the rules. How are things done here? Because the rules differ. How are things done? How is production done in Imo State as compared with the production pattern in Kaduna, in Kano, or even down south in Oyo? The people that are involved, who is in it? Is it the men or the women? Who is out? Who are those people that are not involved? Who does what? What does the man do? What does the woman do? And what are the resources? What are the activities? And the power, who decides what? And whose interest is actually served? Now, it's also important to pause here and talk about having a gender responsive value chain development, because we are talking about inclusiveness and we are talking about sustainability. And so it's important for us to have a value chain that is gender responsive. What do you mean by gender responsiveness? It means that you don't only identify and acknowledge gender issues and gaps in agriculture, which any other person can do. But you have to create an environment that reflects an understanding of these realities. You have to make a conscious effort to create an environment that actually reflects that, you know that there are differences between men and women roles, but you have to create that environment and then intentionally address gender norms, roles, and relations so as to have women to be truly engaged and benefit from the action. And this is what it means to have a gender responsive value chain. So inadequate or wrong understanding of gender differences leads to inadequate planning and design of projects and the perpetuation of gender inequalities, and of course, achieving responsive or gender the lack access to this. So we must have a big change. It has the potential for enhanced yield. There are talks that if women have the same access to productive access as men, there will be an increase in yield by about 20%. This is also being suggested from the national debate presently. Okay. And then having a gender responsive policy program or project is the right of the women. Apart from all these advantages, it is women's right to receive these services because there is a significant part of the agricultural workforce and should be consulted prior to completion of agricultural development plans and policies. Is also a right issue. And if this is also taken care of, there will be a reduction in hunger and greater well-being of the family. If the woman enhance access can help women grow more food, they have more say in the family, they will potentially lead to more income, there will be, the woman will have more. In fact, it will lead to a better food security and nutrition for the entire family, as they are the major caregivers of the family. So if you're helping the woman, you're helping every other person within the household. Again, just to show that interaction policies and decisions at the global, national, and local level, and the way it impacts on rural livelihood,